Are you craving a trip on Space Mountain? Well, we've got the next best thing. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePaoli, and today on the show I have Derek from the Mad Chatters joining me once again. Hello, Derek.
Hello there.
How's it going, sir?
It's good. Those for my, our Dr. Seeker fans out there. But no, I'm doing great. Doing great. Glad to be back.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming back. You are on the show today because we recently had we recently met for the first time ever, which is weird. Not only you, but also your co-host Jeremy and your former co-host Matt. We've been in touch with each other for years, been on each other's shows for years, and never met up in real life. And didn't happen to. You actually made it happen so that we were at Walt Disney World at the same time. And it was such an absolute pleasure. And I felt like I needed to have a trip report about that. So are you ready to go on this trip report with me?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, here we go.
Travel along and stamp those passports in today's Disney Trip Report.
Okay, well, Derek, you go to Walt Disney World quite a bit. You're an annual pass holder, even though you live in Tennessee.
That's true. I'm down there pretty often.
Like what? Once every couple months, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. But this time I made a special trip in between my once every couple of months just because I heard Jeff DePaoli was going to be in town and I had to be there.
That is so sweet of you. Like, that really, really is. And I'm so happy that you did. And it's so interesting because, like I said, we've known each other for a long time, but you never know what like one-on-one interaction is going to be like in person. And it could, in my opinion, couldn't have gone better. It was such a fantastic time. And there were some new things that we did, or at least I did, but I would love to chat with you about them. We really haven't had a conversation about the trip.
No, that's true. Yeah, I'm excited to get into this because I, too, had a blast that weekend. It'll be fun to kind of debrief.
Yeah, I was there a long time. You were there for a couple days. I was there for 9 days. And it's funny.
I was thinking about that. As I was thinking about what we did, I was like, man, we did so much. But I left on a Tuesday morning and you were still there for like 5 days after that. So I can't imagine everything you fit in.
Yeah, well, it was funny because like at some point, I think you like kept seeing Instagram posts. And I think I got a text from you that was like, are you still there? It's like, yes. But the reality is this trip just kept getting longer and longer. It was a very weird situation where like at first my sister was going down there and she's like, hey, do you want to come? And it was during the time of year I normally go because I'm a big Halloween fan. So I go down in October and I was like, great, I'm going to go maybe 4 or 5 days. And then as I got closer or I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what, I'll do a week. I'll do 7 days. I'll make it happen. And then there was a mix-up with my flight where they changed the times and it kind of messed with my schedule. And I convinced the airline to let me stay an additional 2 days without charging me more. So then it became 9 days. And then it was daylight saving. So I got like an extra hour too. So it just became longer and longer and longer. And I ain't complaining about it.
No, that's the dream.
It was, it was actually really hard and really depressing to leave, which is so ridiculous to say because I'm flying back to Los Angeles where there is Disneyland. And I sound like a spoiled brat when I'm sad to leave Walt Disney World.
No. In your defense, you had maybe the most perfect weather you could ask for in Orlando, Florida. Any other time of the year, you might have been thinking, okay, it's time to go back to California.
Yeah, 85% of the week, I would say, was great weather. We did have a tornado warning after you left, which was exciting.
Ooh.
I think it's because I went to Universal Studios that day, and the Disney gods were like, what are you thinking? We're going to give you a Twister. So,
Twister, Universal.
Oh, sad. Rest in peace, Twister. Oh, replaced by the terrible...
Wait, what? I have not heard this.
You didn't know that Twister was gone? Jimmy Fallon replaced it.
Oh, I don't think I ever knew it was in the same spot.
Yeah. Oh, when's the last time you went to Universal? It's been a while, huh?
4 years.
Oh, goodness. You got to go back. I love it there. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's Twister's gone and it was replaced by that. But let's start. We're going to kind of chat about things. Some of these things you were actually at. All of these things I'm sure you have opinions about. And of course, I've been to Walt Disney World before. So I'm going to touch on some things that were new to me that I have some thoughts on. And you feel free to interject and even add topics if you want, or if you have questions about what I did. So this is just like a friendly conversation that we're letting strangers listen to. Sound good?
Are you kidding? I do this every day with anyone and everyone. So
excellent. Sounds good. Well, let's start with we officially met at Disney Springs and at the World of Disney store, which is lovely. I said bad things about the new World of Disney store when I first saw what they were doing to it, but overall, I'm really happy with the changes that are there.
Yeah, I agree. So your first view of it was actually my first view too, because I think it had just officially opened a few days before that.
No, that day. I think it was that day.
Okay.
It was either that day or the previous day.
I was a little nervous because I walked in and, well, no, this is true. They already had all the Christmas stuff out, and like the entire first room was just Christmas stuff. And this is before even Halloween. So I was like, oh boy, here we go. But yeah, I think it's great. It's wide open.
Yeah, and now I was a little surprised. I did not expect to experience World of Disney at Walt Disney World before I experienced it at Disneyland. But
yeah, that's strange.
But that happened, and it has a very industrial brick and exposed metal feel to it. That at first I was like, oh, this just doesn't feel Disney. But the way that they've decked it out, it does feel Disney now. But to be fair, if they really wanted to change it, they could very easily make it whatever you wanted just by taking down, changing some projections and taking down some signs. But I think it looks cool.
I don't know how much of Disney Springs you've seen, but every new restaurant looks like that.
Yeah.
Like the industrial, the brick, the exposed vents, the exposed beams. Like if you took a picture of the ceiling of a restaurant in Disney Springs, you could play like Where Am I? And it would be very difficult.
Now, I'm trying to remember when I did this. I can't remember when, but when we did like kind of the tour of Disney Springs and we went into the Edison and through like the restroom, secret room and all that, were you there for that? Okay,
yeah.
Okay, that was that day. I think.
I don't know. I guess it was. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I did see a lot of Disney Springs and it's so beautiful. I really like that Walt Disney World has its Disney Springs. I hope no place else does that. Like, I think it's cool that that's unique to Walt Disney World. And even though, like, it was downtown Disney for a while and we have downtown Disney here at Disneyland, like, it never felt like the same thing. Downtown Disney in Florida was always so much more epic than downtown Disney at Disneyland. So I like that there's, like, a differentiation now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think destination. I think Disney Springs is more of a destination, whereas downtown Disney is like, well, let's give them something else to look at if they want.
Yeah, and something to walk through while you go from the hotel to the park, essentially.
Right. Right.
But we also ate at, this is my first time, Chicken Guy, which is Guy Fieri's new restaurant at Disney Springs. And in the past, I've also said not great things about Guy Fieri's restaurants because, to be fair, the only one I'd really eaten at was in Times Square in New York, and it wasn't good, and it's closed since then. But Chicken Guy, good find in my mind. I like it.
Totally agree. I've been twice. I love it. Remind me what you ordered.
Oh, I got the chicken sandwich, and remember it was like that mix-up where like, what 2 sauces do you want? And then I was like, well, I don't know if they put it on the sandwich or not, to be honest. It was weird, but it was just good fried chicken. Like, it wasn't super greasy. It was kind of lightly battered, and I would definitely head back to Chicken Guy. Like,
yes, I think the quick service restaurants at Disney Springs are kind of hit or miss, but the Chicken Guy for me is way up there. And it was a lovely evening, so we got to take advantage of the outdoor seating because there is not a lot of indoor seating, unfortunately.
Yeah, and there basically everybody showed up. That it was so funny. Like that day started and it was me and you, and that's all I knew. It was like going to be me and you, and then by the end of it, like a large group of friends showed up, and I was like, all right, I guess this is how things happen in Orlando. People just start showing up, and now there's a massive group of us. This is awesome. So it was a pretty cool first day. I love it. But I will say a nice little tip. I don't know if they'll let you do this, but after we did Chicken Guy, we went into the Coca-Cola store and walked all the way to the top, and they get like a nice little seating area up there with the bar. I mean, get your Chicken Guy to go and climb up to the roof of Coca-Cola. Not a bad idea, in my opinion.
I mean, you'd work off the chicken just climbing up those 4 stories before you even eat it.
That's true as well. That is true. So that was a wonderful food experience we had. But then we had a devastating food experience that evening because we all headed, per my suggestion, hey guys, let's go to Saratoga Springs where I happen to be staying, but they also have the Artist's Palette there, which happens to have a dessert that you introduced me to on your show. It was called the birthday cake bread pudding. And this is like the only place they had this birthday cake bread pudding. And we get there and we meet a lovely cast member named Kylie. See, I promised her I'd give her a shout out. There you go, Kylie. And guess what happened there, Derek?
I mean, I kind of forgot about this till you brought it up. This was devastating that not only were they out of them, and I thought, well, it is the end of the night. It's, they bake these every day, so that's fair. Not only were they out, they have stopped selling them at the Artist's Palette, and it's heartbreaking.
Not only, and that was the only place you could get it. So, like, basically, they don't make it anymore. And luckily, I did get it the last year when I was there, per your suggestion, and I loved it. It was really good. And we made a big stink about it. Like we were very dramatic about it. And I'm sure some of the cast members were like, guys, get over it. It's birthday cake bread pudding. It's fine.
Whoa. We were dramatic about it.
What are you suggesting? It was only me?
I mean, we were all dramatic at first, but then it just went on. And this poor cast member, I mean, we were kidding, obviously, but I hope she didn't go home and cry at the end of that night.
Oh, no, she was enjoying it. She kept coming back over and, like, checking in. So she was like, She was into it. Let's face it. It was fun. Sure. But poor choice is what I will say as far as that's concerned, because if you're ever at Walt Disney World and you see them selling birthday cake bread pudding anywhere, not only eat it, also tweet us and let us know. Maybe it'll show up somewhere someday. But it was so good.
Listen, you can see Saratoga Springs from Disney Springs, so that's true. But it's not exactly like a quick walk over there. No. I have made that walk at least 3 times just to get this bread pudding, and now I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, it's a bit upsetting. So they did have what did I get? I got a pumpkin cheesecake, which was quite delicious, but not as unique as birthday cake bread pudding. What did you end up getting there?
I got the cookie dough cupcake. So it's a vanilla cupcake, and there's actual cookie dough in the center of it, and then a cookie on top.
Ooh, well, that sounds delicious as well.
It was great. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we went to the Magic Kingdom, of course, on our first day in the parks. And before I jump into some stuff I did there without you, anything in particular you want to talk about from our adventure there, by any chance?
So the reason I kind of mentioned I was going to Magic Kingdom, and you were kind of like, all right. I mean, you had 8 days, so what did you care where we went the first day? But I just wanted to see the fall decorations one more time, and I really wanted to see the fall trolley show, because if you're not aware, Magic Kingdom has the trolley come down Main Street up until about noon every day, and they have cast members doing this little show on the street, and they have holiday overlays basically, and the fall one was about to end, so I wanted to see it one more time.
So 2 things about that. Number 1, did you know that they actually do the trolley show before the park opens? Like I was there another day to see it, and I was like, hey, when's the first show? And they're like, oh, the first one already happened. I'm like, the park just opened. They do one for like extra magic hours people and people taking tours.
No way. No.
Yeah, so like the park opened at 9, I think, and they had like an 8:30 show. And I was like, really? So that was a little surprising to me. I think they only do 2 stops when it's normally 4. I think that first one they only do 2 stops. But yeah, their day actually starts earlier than I realized initially. But like you said, you were excited to see the fall version of it, the autumn version. And unfortunately, we've learned that this is kind of the end of the seasonal trolley shows, other than costume changes, because like there was a whole new set of music, and it was all about autumn and stuff, which was cool. And then I think I just said cruel. I meant cool. Sorry, It was cool. And now they're doing the standard trolley show, but with Christmas costumes. So it sounds like those days are gone.
Just yet another budget cut. I assume it's budgetary.
So when you say that, I'm trying to think, how does that save money? Because you're still paying for just the few rehearsals? They don't want to pay for those few rehearsals to change things up, because other than that, you're still changing the costumes. You're still paying performers. So I don't quite understand how that saves all that much money.
I mean, I assume it's the rehearsals and training new cast members for new choreography, whereas the costumes, they use the same ones every year. It breaks my heart because the holiday one, the Christmas one, is what I wait all year for, because they have these big stacked boxes and gifts, and they throw them to each other, and it's adorable. And now it's just a boring traditional one.
So I am not as heartbroken about not having the seasons because, number one, like, to me, the highlight of that trolley show is I'm walking right down the middle of Main Street, USA, which is not part of the holiday ones. So I wish, like, if they did the holiday versions with that worked into it, I'd be like, boom, perfection. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, the thing that scares me more than the fact that, we're not getting the holiday ones, it scares me that maybe we won't have it at all because Disneyland doesn't. And that would be such a bummer to me because I really love the trolley show. I think it's such a great opening to the day. You know, I think it's fantastic. And it would really break my heart if they just got rid of it altogether. And I kind of feel like this is the first step of getting rid of it.
I'm worried as well. I don't think there are many guests who, when they take a survey about their favorite things at the Magic Kingdom, say that the trolley show is even in their top 10 or 20. So I would not be surprised if this eventually gets the axe, but I personally would hate to see it go.
It's one of those things, though. It's kind of like, you know, if you ever take a survey, or you're ever like, which one of your favorite things? Riding the fire truck down Main Street, USA. No, nobody says that, but we would all miss it if it wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And so those of you listening, if you appreciate the trolley show, do what I did. Start tweeting about it. Start tagging, what is it, Walt Disney World Today? Is that their hand? Or WDW Today? Yes. Start tagging them in your tweets. Let them know that you love the trolley show because it would be, I really think that people would miss it if it wasn't there. Even me, it wouldn't be the first thing I would think to put on a survey if somebody was asking me, what's your favorite part of the day? But yeah, I don't know. It's a little heartbreaking to think that it might go away. It's sad.
I know, but at least for now, I mean, we act like it is going away, but for now, they've just taken away the overlays and they've made it a more like year-round show.
Exactly, yes. Now, another thing that was new to me was the new Welcome Show, because last time I was there, I actually did go to the Welcome Show, and it was at the train stop or the train station last year. And, you know, at that point, they hadn't announced it was going to change or anything. So I'm happy that I saw it for a final time last year. And so I saw the new one this year. Once again, I think it's a really nice way to start your day. I'm glad that wasn't taken away altogether. It's a different version of what they used to do. But it's such a sweet little way to start the day, to see a ton of characters. I'm a big fan of it. I do prefer it at the train station, but also the viewing is much better up at the Cinderella Castle stage. So I understand.
Yeah, I get it. The train station was more intimate, I guess, in a way. But I think they still do a great job. And the castle stage allows you to like kind of wander down Main Street up until the show starts.
And spend money on merchandise and coffee, which is really what I think the reasoning was behind it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why it changed. But one thing I did when I was at Magic Kingdom with my sister, you weren't there for this, but I know you've done it in the past, is Skipper Canteen, which I really liked. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked Skipper Canteen. Are you not a fan of it, or? I'm
a huge fan of Skipper Canteen.
Yeah, I thought the food was really good. Now, they certainly keep the stupid jokes of the Jungle Cruise as part of this experience. And one time, there was a joke that made me laugh. Did I tell you this? I don't even know if I told you this. I may have told you this. It made me laugh a lot, but then I got really irritated by it because I drink a lot of water, especially when I'm in Florida. And my waiter comes up to me and, you know, my glass is almost empty. And he goes, "Would you like more water?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And he grabs my sister's full glass and puts it in front of me and then walks away. And I'm like, that's funny. Like, as if to say, okay, well, here's your water, you know, just drink your sister's. I'm like, I'm not going to drink my sister's water. Like, that's her water. And he didn't come back for like 15 minutes with new water for me. And I was like, and I was eating something spicy. And I was so annoyed by that. I was like, okay, good joke. I'm over it. Bring me my water. I was so upset.
Yeah, no, that's a little annoying. Luckily, the 2 times I've been, I had a server who perfectly rode that line of like really funny, made us laugh, but also did the waiterly duties that were necessary of him or her, you know?
Yeah, mine had
I love it. I was just gonna say, I love the food in there. I think the theming is second to none. And I think the Magic Kingdom restaurants especially are way down on my list of places to go. So I'm so glad it's there.
Yeah, what was there beforehand? Was it a store?
No, it was just kind of an open area. I know during the parties, they would just have 3 or 4 meet and greets all in that one building.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, it's definitely a nice restaurant to go to. Honestly, the reason we ended up there is my sister wanted to do Be Our Guest, and we still can't get reservations to Be Our Guest even way in advance. And I'd been to Be Our Guest several times, so like I wasn't heartbroken over it. The thing that really bothers me, I went and asked a cast member, hey, can we just take a peek inside? Like she just wants to see it, and they were still like, no, you can't go without a reservation. And I'm like, that's really annoying because it's not like we're saying, hey, we don't want to give you money. You're telling us you're booked. We can't get in. So can we at least peek our head inside? Like, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, no, I've run into that too. I did have reservations. My mom didn't. And so I was like, hey, I'm just going to take my mom in there so she can see it. And they were like, no, she can't do that.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, if you're dining in there, would you want 30 parties at a time just walking around your table and ogling all your food? Ogling?
I'm not even saying like walking around. I'm just saying step into the entry, have a rope up or something. Let people look. I don't. It's not like people aren't spending money there and just going to look. Like the place is always full. So I don't know. It's fairly frustrating that, people can't just go look at it. But one thing I will say, the people really should take the time to look at. I know that this sounds like just a childish thing to do, but if you go to Magic Kingdom and you don't experience Enchanted Tales with Belle, you're insane. Like, this is the coolest meet and greet I've ever seen in my life. And the mirror transformation is reason enough to go. And then Lumiere is second reason enough to go. I'm crazy about that meet and greet.
That's great.
You don't
did we
agree?
Experience this together?
No.
Were you there?
No, I took. Wait a sec. I did it twice because I did it with a bunch of friends. No, you
were there.
Yeah,
you were there because you turn off your podcast if you don't want magic spoiled.
I was going to say,
you leaned over to me and said, look, you can see the rods. And it was like shattering this illusion that I built up in my mind saying Lumiere is hands down the best audio animatronic I've ever seen. And you said, you can see the rods. And like, I felt my heart physically breaking in my chest.
First of all, you're not the first person whose heart I've broken over that. Second of all, that's amazing that you had been there several times and never noticed. Okay, still, like you're an adult. You never noticed it. And the other person I spoiled it for, also an adult. No, that's truly not an insult. I'm impressed by how well they hide it. What we're talking about, spoiler as he said, is Lumiere's arms are very wiry and loose, just like the animated character. Frankly, they move as well as Elsa's actual animatronic arms in Frozen Ever After. Is that the name of the ride? Yes, Frozen Ever After. What's the name of the short? Isn't there a short? That's called Tangled Ever After, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's confusing. Anyway, Elsa's arms move beautifully and fluidly like actual animatronics, whereas Lumiere's are super thin. And so, yeah, they're essentially on puppet rods, but the curtains hide them so well that most people don't see. And I actually didn't think I was ruining for you. I figured it was something you knew already. It was more of like a comment, like, oh, look how good that is. It's so well done.
Right. No, it didn't ruin it by any means. I still think that is one of the best animatronics. It looks exactly like the character from the animated movie, which is so hard to pull off.
Yeah. And so I just mentioned this because it is one of those things that I think a lot of adults, if you're going with no children to the park, you'd be like, I don't need to go to a Belle meet and greet. But the Imagineering work in this attraction is some of the best in New Fantasyland. So I highly suggest you check it out and get a fast pass if you can for it. What else? Oh, I did do Mickey's Halloween party at Magic Kingdom. You were gone at that point, but I did it on Halloween night.
Yeah, Mickey's Not So Scary.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Halloween party.
Sorry. Thank you for the correction. Gosh,
That's
I
okay.
hate myself.
We're not in Disneyland anymore, Jeff.
I know. Sorry. It's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I did do that, and I just wanted to touch upon Pirates of the Caribbean, which got this.
Yeah.
So there were three things that got little overlays for Mickey's Not So Scary, and that was Pirates of the Caribbean, Mad Tea Party, and Space Mountain. And Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm going to chalk it up to, in all three cases, this was the first year they were doing these overlays for them. I'm going to say it was what it was because it was the first year. Do you agree? Or do you think, like, it seemed like they gave him $20 and said, you know what, go make something new? Because there really wasn't much difference. And it was a little forced, to be honest.
I found the Pirates one to be totally unnecessary. If they want to expand on it in the years to come, I'm open to it. But if they're just going to keep it like this, I say, why even bother?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm hoping it's kind of like the way the Jingle Cruise started, where that first year at Disneyland, we were like, oh, this is terrible. And then it actually became something cool. And then they took it away from us. Well, hopefully it's something like that, where it's the first year and they will expand upon it in future years, because I think it could be cool. The only thing that's a little difficult is putting humans amongst animatronic figures. Is kind of like, oh, well, now it's really obvious that these are different things. So hopefully they can place them strategically so that it makes sense and doesn't ruin the flow of what's going on in there.
Right. Did you say what it is? The fact that there are live actors in the queue who are saying, look out for, what's his name, Pete, something, something. And so you are kind of teased with the idea that there will be a live actor in the attraction. And then sure enough, near the very end, he's up above you on this bridge talking to you. I mean, he's a pirate, I guess.
Yeah, he's you know, it's fine. It's a nice little addition. The good thing is that, like, normally if this was normal park hours, even the fact that it's kind of lame, you know that this would have like a 3-hour line just because it's something new, and Disney fans would go crazy because it's something new. It's cool that it's during Mickey's Not So Scary, because even though Mickey's Not So Scary is extremely crowded, most people are in lines for characters. So the line for this was maybe 15 minutes or something like that. So at least you're getting something slightly new, and it's still a short wait. So I applaud the effort, but, you know.
You know what just occurred to me? Is this like a very Disney G-rated way of trying to do a Halloween Horror Nights where there are live actors like trying to scare you in the queue or intimidate you?
Well, they're not scaring you. They're in plain sight. Nobody's hopping out. Although I will say this was, and I felt bad for this actress because she was the first one you see, like, behind the prison bars in the queue, and she's like, "Let me out of here! Let me out of here!" Well, right before you board the boats, you like see where she is, and there's an opening for her to walk out. So like all night long, people are just like, "Hey, come out this way," and she has to like just ignore them because, you know, she has to pretend she can't get out. And I'm like, they couldn't have put some fake bars here so that she didn't have to deal with that all night. It was so obvious, like, oh, here's a door for you to exit, stupid pirate.
Oh, my word. You know what's kind of cool about this as we're talking about it? I'm realizing I went to the very first party of the season and you went to the very last one. So we know for sure that they never really improved this or changed this in the 2.5 months the party was going on. That
is 100% true, yes. Listen, I go to this party. To be fair, I probably would not have gone to this party because this was my third or fourth. I think it was the third time going. And it doesn't change much from year to year. That's the biggest problem with Mickey's Not So Scary and Mickey's Halloween Party as well. Unlike a Halloween Horror Nights where you're getting a whole new event every year, these don't change. The reason I went is because my sister hates haunts and she wouldn't do Horror Nights on Halloween night. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to leave you alone on Halloween night. So let's do Mickey's Not So Scary. I'll get to see my Sanderson sisters and we'll have a good time. But the reality is that, like, I wouldn't have spent the money on that if I didn't have somebody with me who didn't want to do Halloween Horror Nights. Is it something you feel like you want to do every year?
It is. I love that parade so much with the grave diggers and their shovels. I love the Sanderson sisters. And honestly, more and more, I've really enjoyed dressing up in a costume and seeing what other costumes people think of.
I'm going to give you a suggestion. go on Halloween night so that you're not the only person in costume?
Oh, man. Okay, so I did go to the very first party, which first of all was like 90 degrees. Who wants to wear a costume? And also, who has even had time to think of a costume when you're just going back to school? I got on the tram to go from the parking lot to the park. Literally the only person on my entire tram dressed in the costume, and it was so embarrassing. It's horrible.
Yeah,
everybody's staring.
I didn't really dress up, to be honest. I was lame this year, and I was just like, I don't have time, and there wasn't, like, I like dressing up if I'm really passionate about something, like of the past year, some pop culture thing that I'm super excited about. I love dressing up in that case, but like this year it would have been like, I would have dressed up as Love Simon or Call Me By Your Name, and I don't think anybody would have gotten it. So I'm like, I don't know what I would have dressed up as. So
Jeff, you have to go as John from Carousel of Progress one year.
I would, you know what I would love to do? I would love to go with a whole group of friends and like be the entire family. That'd be fantastic. I'm all about that.
That's great.
You gave me a little attitude on this trip when I suggested we ride Carousel of Progress more than once. And I don't know what that's about, sir, but you need to rethink your feelings toward Carousel of Progress.
Listen, not all of us took a 13-day vacation to Walt Disney World. I had limited time.
Not all of us go every 2 months, Derek.
And I don't ride it on every trip either.
That is horrific. But I did point out to you, or actually, I think you noticed one initially, and then I pointed out some stuff to you in that the hidden Mickeys in that attraction. I think you saw the one under the tree, right? Was this you, or was this somebody else?
I saw the one in the tree later in my pictures that I had taken, but you pointed out to me the Marty Sklar nod. In
the
one
little
of the
note from Marty Sklar. Oh, I forget what the note says, but right as you're exiting the final scene on the bulletin board, there's like a note from Marty. And then I showed you the Fantasia painting in the final scene, and there's a Mickey Mouse Nutcracker on the mantle. So yeah, there's a lot of little hidden gems in there. But yeah, I love Carousel of Progress. Also, at Mickey's Not... Sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, before we leave Magic Kingdom, can we please talk about the PhotoPass cast member who took our picture in Adventureland? And I just want to bring this up because I
love this.
I have been going to Walt Disney World, for a long time now, and I go very often, and never in my many times of going has this ever happened where we were just casually standing in really not even that picturesque of a spot in Adventureland waiting for a friend, and this cast member just stops us and says, "Oh, this is great, let me take your picture." Took multiple shots, then proceeded to bring us out into the middle of the pathway and get this artistic shot where my face is reflected in Jeff's sunglasses. It was as if we had hired this guy to follow us around and take artistic pictures of us.
Well, it was funny because what it made me think, and I do not think that this is the case, but it felt like a situation where like they got paid on commission, and this guy was like, okay, how can my photos be more unique than anybody else's? Because nobody else is doing that. And let's face it, like, I'm sure if it were a commission base, he probably would have sold more photos than most people that day. But yeah, he was very excited to do it, very passionate about it, and you marveled over the fact that he was so into it. You couldn't stop talking about it
so quickly. It was like 3 minutes later. It's like, I think that guy came out of it. He was like Santa Claus. Like, he disappeared. He came out of nowhere. He didn't really exist. I don't know.
And I think we lied to him a little bit. We said we met like at the front gate or something. I think, didn't we? He's like, how do you guys know each other? I'm like, oh, we met at the front gate. And he's like, oh, cool. Whatever. Yes. So there's that moment as well. Also at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I didn't ride it because I'll vomit if I do, but the Mad Tea Party, the light and music overlay is fine. And I didn't ride Space Mountain because it's not as good as Disneyland's. Sorry.
Wrong.
But I will say, so for Halloween, they did that whole pitch black, turn off the lights situation. I did ride People Mover during this, and of course it rides through. They're not kidding. Pitch black. You see nothing.
It was crazy. So even, that beginning tunnel, like it's like, and it has all the blue flashing lights. That was pitch dark. I didn't realize how long the ascent is in Space Mountain until it's pitch black, because you keep going up and you literally cannot see the hand in front of your face. And the whole time I was going up, I kept thinking, we have to be at the top of the hill. Like this, we have to be almost there. How are we still climbing?
Yeah,
So
it's crazy how just like when you get used to something a certain way, like I'm so used to our normal Space Mountain and the music of that and how the track turns based on that music that when I do Space Mountain Ghost Galaxy, it's actually shocking to me. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm surprised at every twist and turn. And it's cool that like the same ride can just give you that effect. Speaking of like sound changing and stuff, kind of on a side note here, have you ever ridden Transformers at Universal?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was on Transformers once. This was here in Hollywood, but it's the same attraction. And the sound turned off. They had an issue with the sound. And I honestly thought like more broke because the bumps and like everything felt so much more aggressive because the sound was off. There, like your body had nothing to warn it like, hey, there's going to be a jolt here or something. It was so intense with the sound off. It was crazy. So yeah, just losing like one sense enhances everything else so much. And it's kind of wild. And yeah, it was probably terrifying.
I mean, it was the cheapest thing they possibly could have done is to say, hey, go get the lights over there. But it was definitely unique and kind of thrilling and fun. So
I bet you it was terrifying because I find that Space Mountain to be terrifying to begin with. I feel like it's going to fall off the track whenever I ride it. So
I love it. Love it.
Oh, goodness. I skip it. Anyway, so that's it for Magic Kingdom, although I'm going to head back there toward the end of this discussion real briefly. But anything else you want to add before I move on?
No, let's go.
Cool. I do want to tell you about Return to Sleepy Hollow at Fort Wilderness. Have you ever done this or heard of it?
No, and I'm dying to hear more about it because I think it is such a great little thing that they offer.
So it is a little thing, and from what I understand, it used to be a bigger thing. I guess there used to be a hayride involved in everything, but now it's a $20 event, which is why I was like, I'm going to check this out. Like, I love the story of Sleepy Hollow. I'm not crazy about the Walt Disney animated short, to be honest, but for $20, I was like, let's go check this out. So we go to Fort Wilderness, you check in kind of close to Hoop-de-Doo Review, and then they bring you to the horse stalls, and you are sitting on chairs watching the movie amongst like the Disney horses. Like every once in a while, the horses will poke their head out and watch with you. And it's kind of awesome. And it smells like horse in there. I love the smell of hay. So like it just, it immediately to me smells like farm and autumn and Halloween. So I love that. But if you're sensitive to that smell, I'm sure it can get real annoying real fast. But like, just think about the fact that you're sitting amongst the Main Street USA horses. That's kind of cool.
See, now that alone to me is worth the $20. But I mean, what I understand is there's even more than that.
Yeah. Okay. So you get a full bag, like a full family size bag of popcorn, each person. And you're like, what? That's weird. I was like, that's very weird. I think Pop Secret must have sponsored it or something. You get an exclusive pin, which you could sell on eBay for like $15 because it's a different pin every year. So like there's most of your ticket price anyway if you really wanted to do that. And then you do watch the short. There's a screen hanging. You watch the animated short. And then comes the coolest part. And I knew that there was, a photo op with the Headless Horseman after. But the way it's revealed is so cool. The short ends and like they project on the screen like something, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like, and now the moment you've been waiting for. And the screen starts rising and all of this fog from behind the screen starts rolling out toward the audience, and they light the Headless Horseman from behind and you just see his silhouette, and then they light him from the front and it's like this beautiful reveal of the Headless Horseman. And then everybody gets to go up and take their photos. And you saw the photos, like they're great photos. So
yeah, did the photos come with the $20? Like were those free to download?
No, not that I know of. But to be fair, I kind of just took it. But they did take photos with my camera. Obviously, they didn't come out as well. But you were kind enough with your annual pass to download them for me. I don't think that they came with the thing, but they may have. I just might not have looked into it. And there is
I do think that's one thing I think they should at the very least add is
digital
it costs them
download.
nothing to give you those downloads.
I would agree, and they may. I could be wrong about that. There is a higher ticket price as well. I forget what it was. I think maybe closer to $50, and you could add on a dessert party after, which I was like, I don't really care. Dessert parties don't excite me. I would definitely suggest, if you've been to Walt Disney World a bunch that time of year and you're looking for something new and Halloween-y to do, which I'm always looking for something new Halloween related to do, highly suggest spend the $20 and go to this Return to Sleepy Hollow at Fort Wilderness. It's pretty cool.
I love that. And to even go to Fort Wilderness is because, Disneyland doesn't have all these different resorts like Walt Disney World does. But to even visit Fort Wilderness is good. And then it's crazy. You probably spent more than $20 for your Skipper Canteen meal.
Oh, I definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So it's a cool experience. You should look into it next year. I know that they do sell out pretty quickly. It's pretty limited. There aren't a ton of seats, but definitely a cool little experience. Not saying I would do it again necessarily anytime soon, but I'm happy I did it. It was fun.
Yeah, they need to do something Christmas too. I'm just trying to think.
At Fort Wilderness?
Anyway, I don't know. I'm like, show Mickey's Christmas Carol. I don't know. Anyway, I'll keep brainstorming and come back to you.
Okay, sounds good. Anyway, we also went to Toy Story Land, and this was my first time at Toy Story Land. And first of all, Slinky Dog Dash, what a blast. Like, so fun. It's, it's exactly what you expect it to be, plus a little bit more, I would say. It's the launch sequences are great. The Foley of the springs or the Slinky stretching and stuff. Great sound effects in the attraction. Fun, smooth ride. It's, it's a family coaster. It's a blast. I have nothing bad to say about it other than the fact that, like, the vehicles are falling apart already, which is a real bummer.
I forgot about this. Yeah, so like the seat backs are basically metal, but for some reason they decided to cover them in like these vinyl cloths, almost like really nice, or not really nice, but like picnic tablecloths, Yeah. And they're already being just shredded.
Yeah.
Not good.
My guess is maybe somebody must have banged their head or something, or they were worried about somebody banging their head. I don't know exactly why they did this. It did seem a little bit unnecessary, but it exists, and it was weird to see this land that was brand new to me, and it just opened in May, right? Like, it's a new land, but I will say, Florida sun and Florida rain, the weather is really good at damaging stuff, so my guess is that's what's happened. I don't think it's from people touching it, not in that short amount of time.
No, but some things are. Like, some things in the queue are peeling, and you can definitely see where guests have taken liberties at saying, oh, look, it's already peeling. Why not peel it more? But yeah, a lot of the thing is there's already sun wear and tear and sun damage and fading. And
yeah, no, you got something at Woody's Lunchbox, and I was very underwhelmed by what do they call it? Their Pop-Tart, whatever they call it.
Okay, let me defend Woody's Lunchbox, because the first time I got that tart, it was better. The time I got it with you, super mediocre and underwhelming. But the lunch I got there, fantastic.
Okay, fair enough.
Just don't waste money on the tart.
Okay, sounds good. I overall, the land is, it's what I expected it to be. It's a nice little addition at a park that needed a nice little addition. My biggest complaint, if I had one about it, is I definitely felt like I was walking backstage. There is a long pathway that essentially that's what you're doing. You're walking backstage. I believe the Eiffel Tower used to be where the land is. So it's an area that wasn't, walked upon by guests in the past, and it feels like you're exiting the park.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we have this great park, Hollywood Studios, and we have this great land idea, Toy Story Land. I mean, I guess we have to figure out some pathway to connect the two. Oh, just throw this down there.
Yeah, so it was, I had a fun time there. I did end up doing Midway Mania on a different night. You weren't there at that point. We went back for the Galactic Spectacular and had some time, and like Midway Mania had a 15-minute wait, so we did that. I didn't do the swirling saucers, as I got the toys or the Cars Land version here, and I'm like, I'm not worth the wait. But overall, like, a fun little land. Just the complaints I've had about it in the past remain there. The continuity of like why some army men are walking around and some aren't. Why is there a giant Woody toy yet there's a meet and greet with Woody in the park as well? Like, it's those things that most people don't care about or think about are the things that bother me. Other than that, fun little addition.
Yeah, sure. Is it perfect? No. Did it provide Hollywood Studios with what the Imagineers were hoping it would? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And, hopefully as things expand in that park, hopefully people will go there and enjoy that and alleviate crowds in some places. We'll see. Of course, I hit up my favorites. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's what I love about Toy Story Land is that it's taking people away from my favorite areas of the park, like Sunset Boulevard.
Sure. I will say, did Muppet Vision 3D. Looks good. It's in very good shape at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It was not in good shape at DCA by the time it left there. So I was happy to see it was in good shape there and a full crowd laughing their butts off. So
okay, calm down. Okay.
No, they really were. It was an active crowd, and it was a full crowd.
It was.
No?
And you're right. The projections look so much better than I remember because it's been a while since I've seen it.
No, they looked very good. Much better than It's Tough to Be a Bug, which I did. Which, honestly, this trip was the first time I've done It's Tough to Be a Bug at Disney's Animal Kingdom since 1998 when the park opened.
No!
Yeah, because I'd just done it so much at Disney California Adventure that every time I went to Walt Disney World, I was like, no need to do this. So...
This is what I'm realizing now, that Muppet Vision 3D used to, in my opinion, be the worst of the 3D movies, but now it exceeds both PhilharMagic and Tough to Be a Bug easily.
PhilharMagic is embarrassing. The projection quality on that screen with that projector is in bad shape and needs to be fixed or updated or removed. Something needs to happen with that because it's in bad shape.
Yeah, Aaron, our friend who was with us, was watching during that opening scene when when Donald is trying to conduct and everything's a mess. Like, he took off his glasses a couple times. Like, I don't think mine are working. Something is wrong. And it's like, no, it just looks bad.
Oh, you just made me think of a story. It's kind of Disney related, so I'll tell it. You said he was taking off his glasses to see if the 3D was working. Oh my goodness. So years ago, when that Jim Carrey Christmas Carol movie came out, I went. Do you remember that one?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So I went to the IMAX 3D to see it on Thanksgiving night with a bunch of friends. And we got our 3D glasses, and the previews start, and we got our 3D glasses on, and everything's still blurry. And so I'm taking them on and off, and on and off, and I'm looking, and I'm like, these are broken. And I start yelling, "Fix the projector!" Like loud. I'm like, "Fix the projector! This is blurry." And all my friends are like, "Yeah, it's all blurry. Like, what's going on? Fix the projector." I'm so irritated. Everybody else in the theater, aside from my friends, looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, what is going on here? So I leave the theater, which I was so angry to have to do because I was like, now I'm going to miss part of the movie. At least I know this story, but whatever. I leave the theater. I get a manager or somebody working there. They gave us the wrong 3D glasses. They have different glasses for IMAX. And so now I'm that schmuck in the theater yelling at a projection that has no person at it. Yeah.
Wait, just you and your friends got the wrong glasses?
Yep,
oh my gosh. Well, no wonder. I would have freaked out too.
Yeah, I was upset. I ended up getting free movie tickets out of the deal, but still, I was just so annoyed because, like, Christmas Carol is one of my favorite stories ever, and, like, I was really looking forward to that movie. And I was like, I gotta miss the beginning because of your error. It drove me nuts. But
boom, there's your overlay. Figure out a way to make Mickey's Christmas Carol 3D, and during November and December, play it in that theater.
The Jim Carrey one or Mickey's?
No, Mickey.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But so what else happened at Disney's Hollywood Studios? We had an interaction with some amazing cast members named Martha and Ada at what was the store?
Well,
it was on Sunset Boulevard.
One of my trivia questions, but it's called Legends of Hollywood.
Okay, sorry to do that to you. Legends of Hollywood.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we went in there just to look around. I forget what we were doing. We were probably heading toward the tower or something. And we walk in and we see these two lovely, I just call them my Golden Girls because that's what they remind me of. I honestly felt like I was in an episode of Golden Girls during this experience. I don't even know how we got so friendly. How did this even start? But it was like me, you, Jonathan, Brooke, I think, to start things off.
Yes, the reason we went in there is they have a mural that is lovely. And it is basically a recreation of Hollywood Studios back when it was Disney MGM Studios. So it has a Chinese theater and a bunch of other iconic landmarks on it. I went in there to show you guys, but also to get a good picture of it. And as I'm taking pictures, she's like, oh, have you seen our other store over there? And make sure you go check out this. And we just got sucked into this conversation.
And I wouldn't let it go either. Like, I just kept it going. And then she started, quizzing me on the photos of the old stars around the store. It was one of the funniest moments of all time at Walt Disney World. The cracked me up. And then I insisted that, like, everybody throughout the day, more people kept joining us. I insisted that everybody go meet these ladies, and we came in and hugs all around. Like, it was like, oh, Jeff's back, Derek's back, hugs, and they just wanted hugs. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing ever, but this is delightful.
It was delightful because they were bringing so much joy to our day, but you could tell that this was also easily the best part of their day, was getting to talk to us and explain things to us.
Yeah, they loved it. So if you ever swing by, they work at several of the shops. They kind of rotate around the shops on Sunset Boulevard. If you run into Martha or Ada, say, hey, Jeff sent me for a hug, and see what that gets you. Might get you kicked out.
Phone numbers were exchanged. At this interaction, business cards were handed out. It was a whole thing.
It was funny because we took a selfie with them, and I gave them a cast compliment on Twitter, and Martha was like, if I give you my phone number, can you text it to me? I wish I had this kind of luck getting phone numbers from many other people, but my goodness, I was like, sure. Like, she wasn't intimidating at all. I'm like, I don't think you're going to do anything with my phone number. Sure. What the heck? So, and then there became a text exchange where at some point I was called Prince Charming, and I was yes, it was, I kind of felt like I was dating Martha by the end of the whole phone texting situation, but
I would not be surprised if I discovered later on that we are her profile picture on Facebook.
I wouldn't, and that's why she definitely posted it on Facebook, because she said, like, that's why she wanted it. Mm-hmm. I was like, all righty. So that was quite the experience, I will say. One other thing I want to say about Disney's Hollywood Studios is I did go back to see Galactic Spectacular. I forgot how good this show was, and I had never seen the show so close up. We were like right in front of the theater. Holy moly, if you can get that close, do it, because like it's intense. It's a really, really good projection show. Are you a fan of that show?
I saw it the night it debuted, and that was the last time I saw it. There were definitely things I liked. I specifically remember the image of Kylo Ren just completely filling the theater, like from top to bottom, and it was just this very intimidating image, and that sticks out in my mind.
You should definitely go out of your way to see it again. And I can't even believe I'm saying this, but like I had the option of Galactic Spectacular or Fantasmic. And these days I'm like Galactic Spectacular, which breaks my heart because right now there is no Fantasmic that I like die for anymore. I used to just swoon over Disneyland's, and now that they've changed it, I don't. In fact, I avoid it at most times. And Walt Disney World is a bit aged, so I'm like not going out of my way for it there. It breaks my heart. We need a Fantasmic, I don't want to say upgrade because they did that and they ruined it, but we need Fantasmic to go back to the way it used to be. That's how I feel, but that's never going to happen. So Galactic Spectacular, in my opinion, is the nighttime spectacular to see at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And before that, they do this thing called Disney Movie Magic, which is a short little kind of montage projection show of Disney movies. And I want to mention this. This was actually my first time seeing it in person. It's a nice little addition. But I want to mention this because you know how when they do projection shows, they tend to project what you're seeing. So like, for instance, they'll project Cinderella Castle on Cinderella Castle, and then it'll transform into other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So during Disney Movie Magic, they actually project on the building the great movie ride signs that used to be there. And I was just like, what? Like, it was so bittersweet because I was like, oh, like it was so sad to think of what was once there. And, obviously they're not going to redo the whole show just to remove those signs at certain little segments. But it was a definite reminder of what was once there, and I truly, truly miss. It's sad.
Did you like the show?
Yeah, it's great. I keep looking for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I don't see it anywhere there, which is a real bummer. Like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids should be part of Disney Movie Magic. There is some Newsies, there is some Hocus Pocus, so there's some like nice little hidden gems in there. But a little, it's a little disappointing. No Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Well, that whole show is a hidden gem. It arrived with absolutely no fanfare whatsoever,
which I love.
They packed in all these great Disney movie references, and you could go to that park all day and have no idea what was going to happen until all of a sudden it starts projecting and the music starts.
Yeah, it was so crazy. Weird. It's awesome. So shall we hop over to Disney's Animal Kingdom for a second?
Yes.
Because I know this is your favorite park. It's my least favorite.
Oh, I love it.
I know. Please tell. What is it that you love so much about it?
Oh, it's just so beautiful. First of all, just the architecture is so beautiful, and the flags in Asia. I love the live entertainment. Like that band in Africa is just so charming and so delightful, and they add so much energy. I just think it's a wonderful park to spend a day in.
I love that you love it. That's great.
Okay.
I don't dislike it, but it's like easily my least favorite park at Walt Disney World. But of course, I had to go back to Pandora. This was my second time at Pandora, and I still have the opinion that I prefer Navi River Journey over Flight of Passage. I know that I'm a freak in that way, but practical will always be superior to projection, in my opinion. But as I rode Flight of Passage again, there are two things about it that I think this attraction does better than any attraction anywhere, and it's water and scent. Because most cases, we all know, Universal especially loves throwing water at you in attractions, but usually it's like it's kind of like somebody flicked their hand of water on your face. When they do this, it's very obvious what's happening. This is incorporated so beautifully. It's not like you're just getting water thrown in your face. It's like a kind of a mist that really is in sync with what's happening on screen. It doesn't feel like a gimmick. It feels natural. And this is the best I've ever felt that in an attraction. So there's that. And same with the scent. Usually my biggest argument with scent in attractions is usually it smells like somebody just plugged in an air freshener directly next to your nose. And you even can hear that burst of air pushing it in your face. This doesn't do that. This just kind of creates these nice natural scents in a very natural way. And that's that's the thing about Flight of Passage that I appreciate most. I don't think it's the most beautiful 3D. I know a lot of people think the 3D is stunning and looks so real. I'm no, it looks like 3D in my opinion. But the scent in the water, bravo, that's what I got out of it for a second run. I don't know.
Two things about that. First of all, you mentioned Universal. Yeah, my favorite in Universal is when you ride the Mummy, and there's a scene where glass shatters, and so they spray you with water. And I'm there is no connection between glass shattering and water being sprayed in your face.
Yeah, Universal's logic is basically if you're going to get hit by anything, just throw water at you. Just, that's how they work. And it's all right, sure, whatever. But yeah, Flight of Passage, I just definitely wanted to say that about it because bravo, it was really, really, really well done.
The only thing I've experienced one time, so it's rows. You sit in rows, and I was on the very, very bottom row in the very bottom corner. So I'm looking up the whole time. But your Banshee for a lot of the ride leans forward because you're looking kind of down and you're flying. So I'm leaning forward, but I'm trying to look up, and the entire ride, the water sprayed on my neck. And so my neck was so cold at the end of that ride. That's the only time that's happened to me, but it was noticeable.
Interesting. Yeah. I was not on the bottom row, but yeah, I recently did Soarin' here at DCA, and I was way off to the side, and that curved screen really can ruin quite a few things in that case. But in any case, that's all I got about Disney's Animal Kingdom, unless you want to add anything about that real quickly. We didn't do it together,
no, we didn't. Except I did see your pictures with Chip and Dale and their costumes.
Oh my goodness. That was honestly my priority at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I said to my sister, who is not a meet character type of person, and frankly, neither am I. It's pretty rare for me to go out of my way to meet a character. I'm I am meeting Chip and Dale. This is happening. And it did, and it was awesome. And they're probably my favorite meet and greets at Walt Disney World. And come on, how cute were those photos? Those were some good photos. They're
looking
adorable.
Good, yeah.
Oh, they were so cute. So yeah, I highly suggest definitely meet Chip and Dale. And the whole Donald Dino Bash is ridiculous and hilarious and whatever. It is what it is, and I guess just embrace it. But I do love the fact, like me, Mr. Things need to make sense. The thing about Donald's Dino Bash that makes the least sense are Chip and Dale, and they're my favorite part of it. Like, at least the others, they are the birds, and they're doing that whole logic of, dinosaurs are their ancestors. Chip and Dale, no sense, but too cute to resist.
That's why they're wearing the dino costumes, because they're like, well, we want to come to the party. We can be dinos too. Yeah,
that's stretching it quite a bit. And let me just say, I was at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and there was some architecture, some statues that I was looking at, and they had like these numbers written on the side of them, and I was like, what is this all about? Just putting this out there, if people don't know this, I tweeted Joe Rohde, the mastermind Imagineer behind Disney's Animal Kingdom, and he responds, he retweets and answers questions that you have. So I highly suggest if you ever have a question about Disney's Animal Kingdom, take a picture, tweet it at Joe Rohde, and he will most likely respond to your question.
No, are you going to share what information you found?
It was nothing all that interesting. It was I was eating. I was with Jonathan and my sister. We were eating somewhere near Rivers of Light. There's a huge seating area. I got like a pulled pork thing. Do you have any idea where it would have been? It was a window.
Flame Tree Barbecue?
Possibly. I don't know. So we're sitting out there, and there were these stone statues, and they had it said like C2 and A4 or something like that, but it was like visibly prominent. And so I was like, what's this all about? It seems like something that should have been erased, So I tweeted that at Joe Rohde, a picture of it. And I was like, hey, what's this about? And he's basically said, like, these are authentic statues, and that's probably just markings from the original artists who created them that for some reason over time has become more prominent, the writing on it, because it wasn't as prominent when they were put there. So it was interesting, but just a fun little tip. I don't know his Twitter handle, but you can find it pretty easily if you just look up Joe Rohde. So that's definitely worth it. I do want to hop back to Magic Kingdom for a second, because I was there during the Halloween to Christmas transition. So I was there for Halloween night, and then I went back, Halloween was on a Wednesday. I went back Saturday, and everything was Christmasified at Magic Kingdom. And honestly, I'm really sick of Disney using this term. It happens overnight. I'm like, no, it's not. And it's fine that it doesn't, because you have a lot to do. But they really try to sell it as if this is something that magically happens overnight. Okay. The lights are on the castle forever. That I accept. I'm like, okay, you don't light them up, so I guess technically it's not, decorated yet. But the thing I'm going to argue about here is I went and saw the trolley show again. All the Christmas decorations are up, and they were still doing the autumn trolley show for a few days. And I'm like, what are you doing? Even the trolley had garland and stuff on it. Yet they were still in their autumn costumes singing autumn songs. So this whole and granted, Christmas had not officially started at Magic Kingdom yet. It didn't start till the 9th, but it's just a weird thing that they do, and kind of a false way that they promote it. I'm like, why are you doing this whole thing? Even the stars at Disney's Hollywood Studios were up on Sunset Boulevard.
I was just about to say that. They were up December 28th when we were walking around. Those stars
August?
were up. I'm sorry. October 28th, because I was there that weekend with you. Yeah. And all the Christmas stars were already out, and Magic Kingdom was still fully in Halloween mode.
The only reason I forgive that is because they kind of don't look like Christmas decorations. They're just stars on Hollywood Boulevard. So I'm like, I could accept those as Hollywood decorations. We know they're Christmas decorations. So I don't know, this whole this they even promoted on the Disney Parks blog and stuff, watch our overnight transition. I'm like, not exactly. So I just find that annoying. And I found it weird, the trolley show choice of, even since it's not like they were still in rehearsal either, because they aren't doing the Christmas show. So it's just a weird thing to me. I find it strange.
Yeah, same thing happened in the summer. I was there when all the pumpkins were out. The trolley had all the fall leaves around the top of it, but they were still in their summer outfits doing the summer show.
Yeah, it's crazy. One other thing I want to mention before I go is the minivan. Have you ever experienced the minivan?
No.
Okay. So I've said Minivan's crazy, ridiculous. Why would anybody do it? There's one reason to do it, and that's if you're at Magic Kingdom in the morning and need to get to Disney's Animal Kingdom or anywhere else because you don't want to go back to the parking structure, the parking lot for Magic Kingdom. So we did it. It's, obviously a great cast member, more than double the price you would pay for a normal lift and stuff, but lift cannot get there. The other times we did need a ride, we would just do normal lift because there's no reason not to, I feel like. So Minivan, it's an interesting service. It's a very popular service. And it's here to stay, it seems like.
Now, is there not a bus from Magic Kingdom to Animal Kingdom? I feel like there has to be.
No. The park to park is not a normal thing.
Yeah, it is. All the other parks have it. Yeah, if you look at the sign, it'll list all the resorts, and then near the bottom, it'll be like to Epcot, to Hollywood Studios.
Interesting. Well, I didn't look into that. So, plus, we were honestly trying to catch a fast pass and didn't want to wait a half hour for bus.
Yeah,
so
the park to parks are notorious for being very set apart or separated time wise. So you may be there for a long time.
Yeah. So in any case, Minivan worked out pretty well. Anyway, that's it for me. So are you ready for some trivia?
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay. That means it's trivia time. Okay, Derek, do you want to ask me a trivia question first, or shall I ask you?
Yeah, let me ask you. Okay, so we talked about Ada and Martha, our golden girls, and I was going to just sort of quiz you if you knew the name of the store. To be completely honest, that was going to be a joke question because I feel like I told you the name of that store 5 times while we were there.
And I honestly, we just talked about it and I still don't remember. Was it Silver something?
It was Legends of Hollywood.
Legends of Hollywood. There we go. Yeah, no. Legends of Hollywood.
That was going to be my joke question because I'm like, oh, he definitely knows this one.
No,
anyway,
sorry.
So as you may know, many of the buildings in Disney's Hollywood Studios are modeled after actual buildings that existed or exist in Los Angeles or the Los Angeles area. Mm-hmm. Now, Legends of Hollywood was modeled after a movie theater called Academy Theater that is still standing. And for a long time, it was the home of movie premieres, but in the late 70s, it became a church, which it still is today. It's called Academy Cathedral instead of Academy Theater.
Okay.
So my question for you is sort of a choose your own adventure. I want you to guess either the year Academy Theater was built, or if you want, you can guess like the smaller city in the Los Angeles area where it's located, or you can guess the main purpose for which the theater was built, even though it never ended up being used for that purpose.
1932, Glendale, and as a hotel. Wouldn't that be amazing if those were all right?
That would be amazing. You have the right decade.
1936.
Getting closer.
1935.
No.
Wrong way. 37, 38, 39.
1939.
Okay.
It was built. It's not Glendale.
Pasadena.
No, I don't really know the LA area all that well, but it's Inglewood.
Oh, I've heard of it. I don't really know where it is. I'm sure I've driven to it at some point.
There you
Inglewood.
go.
Okay. And what was it originally built as? Not a theater?
It was built as a theater, but a very specific purpose it was built for. The Academy Theater.
Oh, it was built for the Academy Awards?
Yeah, and the Academy Awards were never hosted there, but that is the very reason that this architect and the owners of it built it.
That's interesting because the Kodak Theater was specifically built for the Academy Awards as well. Now it's the Dolby Theater, but it's interesting how the Academy Awards took place in spaces that were built specifically for them. I believe if anybody just watched that Mickey's 90th Spectacular on television, I actually went to that live event, and that was at the Shrine Auditorium, which I believe is where the Academy Awards used to be. And if you've seen Newsies, the live Broadway show that they put on Netflix, that was at the Pantages Theater, which is where the Academy Awards used to be as well. So, interesting.
Well, if you get a chance, look up pictures of Academy Theater or Academy Cathedral in Inglewood and the facade. Even like there's this spire that comes out of the top. It looks exactly like the Legends of Hollywood store.
Interesting. My trivia question is not nearly as interesting as that, but I am curious to know, just because I love this attraction at Disney's Hollywood Studios, just because it's so unique to that park, and that is Voyage of the Little Mermaid. And I may have even mentioned this to you once before, but do you know it was in that space before Voyage of the Little Mermaid?
Back when it smelled good and not of mildew.
Yes, those cloth seats were a poor choice for an attraction that gets you wet.
Is that where... No, I think I'm wrong. Is that where the Muppet Show was with the human-sized Muppets?
Yep. Do you know what the name of that was?
Ooh, Muppets Take Hollywood.
No, it's called Here Come the Muppets.
Okay.
And that ran there from May of 1990 to September of 91. So it wasn't a very long run, but then in 1992, Voyage of the Little Mermaid opened there, and it's still there to this very day, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I'll take that over Beauty and the Beast live on stage any day. So
yeah, but why do we have to choose between those two? Because they're both so old.
They are old, but I there's something very charming about Voyage of the Little Mermaid to me. I love it. I mean, when the day comes that it goes away, I'm not going to be like, no, but I will always have like special little memories of it in my mind. So I love it. Cool. Anyway, Derek, thanks for coming on the show to talk about our little adventure at Walt Disney World. Why don't you let the folks know where they can find you?
Yeah, so I am the co-host of The Mad Chatters. You can always find our podcast online and on iTunes and on all the social media channels. Or if you want to follow me personally, I also am on Twitter and Instagram at Derek Liu.
Fantastic. And folks, I want to remind you that right now, the Disney Coast to Coast 2019 calendars are on sale. So head over to DisneyCoastToCoast.com. Check out this year's calendar. If you like it, place an order and support the show that way. While you're there, check out all of our social media at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. And don't forget to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on iTunes to help other folks find the show more easily. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye.
Thanks for watching Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePaoli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com.